There is a humanitarian crisis occurring on our border, while thousands of people are being held in prison-like conditions as we speak. Over the past couple of years, a dramatic influx of Latin American refugees has caused our already shaky immigration system to crash into the disaster that we see today. People being stuffed into cages, infants taken from their mothers, families walking thousands of miles only to be told to turn back. How did we get to this situation? To understand why the crisis at our border has escalated so exponentially, we first have to kill all prejudices about who the Latin American asylum seekers are. The majority of Central American immigrants are people fleeing what is called the Northern Triangle countries, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Due to the extreme amounts of gang activity, these are among the most violent countries in the world.
When I talk to clients about the reasons why they've come, the first thing that they talk about is the harm. And the harm that was so severe that really coming to the United States was the last resort.
The desperation to escape gang violence is the primary motive for asylum seekers to flee their home countries. They leave not because they want to, but because their lives are in jeopardy. By the end of 2019, there are expected to be over 540,000 people displaced from Central America. It's estimated that 80% of the people making the journey through Mexico will be assaulted, 7 in 10 women will be raped. This explains why people began banding together in what are now called caravans, traveling in large masses of people to provide more protection. These are families, unaccompanied adolescents, and small children who have witnessed horrific violence and face extreme risk.
The caravan lurched forward, carrying babies, suitcases, and hope.
This is why it's important to differentiate that these people are not in fact illegal immigrants, but rather they are refugees, civilian non-combatants who have not committed a crime, who are fleeing violence and persecution.
Muchas personas juzgan por la apariencia, pero sin embargo no saben por qué la realidad de las cosas uno anda aquí, porque uno no puede quedar atrás. Pero cuando uno trae hijos no puede hacer eso.
An important concept to understand is how difficult it is to be granted asylum in the United States, and what percentage of these refugees are actually granted the safety they so desperately seek. Judges denied asylum to 65% of the cases presented in 2018, continuing the 6-year streak of increased denial rates.
This is a line of more than 250 families, over 1,000 people long. Many have been here for months.
It takes months to legally file an asylum claim at UC entry points, and it can take years for that claim to be held in court. This means that these refugees will wait years to present their asylum cases to U.S. immigration judge, yet the majority will be denied asylum and forced to return to their home country. The Trump administration introduced a new procedure called Remain in Mexico, which requires asylum seekers to wait in Mexico until their hearings. More than 42,000 migrants have been sent back across the border under Remain in Mexico since the program started in January of this year. As of August 31st, 2019, only 2 migrants in the Remain in Mexico program have won asylum. Think about that. Out of 42,000 people, only 2 individuals have been granted refuge in the United States. The majority of refugees seeking asylum are being held in U.S. detention facilities until their court hearings. With the unexpected influx of the immigrant population, these facilities have overflowed, leading to a lack of safe sanitary and humane conditions. These detention centers have become so bad that they are compared to torture facilities. All refugees, including children, are exposed to extreme cold temperatures, lights on 24/7, no adequate access to medical care, basic sanitation, water, or food.
But this is basically a jail setup, and it's jarring to see toddlers walking inside cells. This facility was designed to accommodate about 100 people for 8 to 12 hours, but it's had up to 700 children inside, and their average stay right now is 6 to 10 days.
When they opened the door, the first thing that hit us was a smell, and it was a smell of sweat, urine, and feces.
There is no need for us to arrest innocent people and treat them no differently than criminals when they are pursuing their basic human rights.
These migrants who legally handed themselves over to the U.S. authorities in hopes of escaping the violence in their home countries are being treated in conditions similar to torture facilities under the United States government. So what are the solutions? Well, the most important thing anyone can do is spread awareness about the misconceptions of who these asylum seekers are and how they are being treated by the United States government. I also encourage you all to go to websites such as change.org. It only takes seconds to find hundreds of petitions supporting this cause and add your name. These websites also make it easy to quickly share petitions through various forms of social media. Signing these comes at no cost to you, yet they can make a significant impact on the situation at large. I also encourage you to take the next step and reach out to state representatives and senators and tell them to stop increasing funds given to government agencies responsible for the funding of detention centers. You can also call on Congress to support legislation such as the Shutdown Child Prison Camps Act and the Families Not Facilities Act. Phone numbers and addresses can be found on official government websites. By getting more media coverage on the conditions in the detention centers, legislators will be pressured into changing the system. There is a real human rights crisis occurring right here on American soil, and it is all of our responsibility to take action. Thank you.